Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
Welcome to the A World of Difference podcast. I'm Lori Adams Brown, and this is a podcast for those who are different and want to make a difference. Does it feel like your whole world has just been turned upside down? Are you having trouble remembering to drink water or eat? Does it feel like you're walking in quicksand? You can't even concentrate on normal things? You may be walking through trauma. There may be a crisis in your life or in your government that is causing you to feel that you don't know how to put one foot in front of the other. I have walked through times like this, and it really has helped me to walk with a professional therapist through these times. I highly encourage you to find a therapist, and at betterhelp.com/difference, you can get 10% off your first month today. I myself have benefited from a therapist I've worked with there. You can message your therapist in between sessions, go to extra courses around grief or trauma, find support groups, and also really have a person to help you walk through some of the most difficult parts of your life right now. You can get 10% off your first month today by going to www.betterhelp.com/difference. You deserve to heal. Welcome back to A World of Difference, where we celebrate humanity's unique differences and explore how we can collectively make a positive impact around the world, with stories from authentic, real-life guests walking through all types of leadership challenges and facing them head-on in ways where they share their journey with us, as well as people working in all types of industries, from business to nonprofit, authors, politics, all types of industries where people are making a difference, both in paid work and in unpaid labor of volunteer work or in their homes and communities. Whatever your type of world looks like, there's a space for you here. And I'm your host, Lori Adams Brown, and I hope you've been enjoying some rest and rejuvenation over the holidays. I certainly have. I've really enjoyed just kind of doing nothing with my favorite people and occasionally deciding to get up and do something all together, like eat yummy food or listen to some great music. But as we step into 2025, we're really living in a world that feels increasingly complex. Am I right? What some are calling a polycrisis. If you've not heard that word, I posted about it recently, and from a LinkedIn post that I posted an article from the Center for Creative Leadership. We're going to dig a little bit into what that looks like and what that meant to me when I read it, and really from a global health emergencies that we're seeing in places around the world to economic instability to environmental challenges. The interconnectedness of these issues that form a polycrisis can be overwhelming. But I've learned that in every crisis, there's an opportunity to lead with resilience, adaptability, and empathy. So before we dive into today's topic, though, let's take a moment to reflect on some of the incredible conversations we had last year that you joined us for. Our most downloaded episode featured Tia Levings, whose memoir, A Well-Trained Wife, inspired so many with her utterly courageous story of breaking free from fundamentalism and escape from a violent marriage. Dr. Kristen Kobes-Dumais, author of Jesus and John Wayne, gave us a profound insight into gender, power, and evangelical culture, and talked about her new documentary that released last year that really affected so many of you that saw it. And I myself saw it before we released this podcast episode with her, and it really made an incredible impact on so many of you, even just before the US election and some of the things that Kristen talked about in the intersection of gender and power and evangelical culture there. We also heard from Dr. Jamar Tisby on his book, The Spirit of Justice, who is really leading the conversation in so many ways, both at the intersection of politics and religion in the evangelical space and exploring faith and the fight for racial equity. And then also from Barbara Grant, who brought valuable perspectives on navigating neurodiverse relationships, which really help so many of you who hadn't really had somebody speaking specifically about that and giving you some tools and handles to go forward in this conversation here on this podcast. all the different types of ways of thinking, our conversations that we want to have, and really bring in different thought perspective of all different types of brains around the world and how you see the world. And so her conversation around that was truly valuable to many of you, including me. And finally, we had Dr. Esther Zeledon, who energized us with her wisdom on creating a limitless life rooted in authenticity and joy. I know many of you resonated with that episode as well as I did. And if you missed any of these episodes, I really encourage you to go back and listen. And if you haven't yet heard our December conversations with Dr. Edie Goldberg on workforce trends and with Julie Castro-Abrams, CEO and founder of How Women Lead, on empowering women in leadership, they are absolutely worth your time. And these two women are friends of mine and just real thought leaders in the space. So today I want to share some of my personal lessons from two pivotal moments in my life and career responding to the 2004 Indonesian tsunami, which we celebrated the lives that were spared and lamented and grieved the lives that were lost on December 26th. And 24 this past year, just a few days ago, it was the 20th anniversary. And so as I look back on that and the time that I spent working there, and I also thought about some other times in my life that reminded me of, I really wanted to share some thoughts around it. What it was like responding to the 2004 Indonesian tsunami and leading also through the COVID-19 pandemic here in Silicon Valley. Really, in 2004, I was in Indonesia when it struck, the earthquake and tsunami happened in that zone. It also hit Thailand. The devastation was unimaginable. The epicenter was in Banda Aceh, where I had lived and worked, and I witnessed the resilience and collaboration on a scale I had never seen before. Working alongside the UN, NGOs, and local governments, as well as fishermen and rice farmers and women in villages doing health work, all of these intersections of different types of cultures and peoples really taught me the power of systems thinking and emotional intelligence in crisis leadership. Fast forward to Silicon Valley during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, and a vastly different crisis, but with similar lessons. Really, psychological safety and open communication were critical for navigating uncertainty, and leaders who prioritized trust building and adaptability really helped their teams not just survive, but thrive. And as we face the interconnected challenges of a polycrisis, three key leadership capabilities really stand out: visionary thinking, emotional intelligence, and community building. These themes really resonate deeply in the Center for Creative Leadership's white paper that I posted about recently on LinkedIn called Leadership in Polycrisis: Essential Capabilities for Navigating Global Challenges. I'll link the white paper in the show notes, but you can also find it on my post recently on LinkedIn, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. How are you navigating the complexities of our time? 2020 is supposed to be a year, many are saying, with some polycrises going on, even starting in this month of January. What are lessons that you have learned from your past experience that you're bringing into this situation this year? And share your insights with us, either me on LinkedIn or send me a message. I would love to hear how you're navigating it because, as always, we're working through this together. Our different perspectives really help each of us understand how to position ourselves for what's going to come our way this year. We don't know what the future holds, but we do know that leaning on each other and each other's understanding is really going to help us walk through it. And that's been my experience with polycrises. That's a new word for you. It was for me too. But the concept is there, isn't it? So we'll be releasing some episodes soon, and I'm really excited about them. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me on A World of Difference this past year. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with a friend. And your support really helps amplify these stories and make an impact. And remember that in the face of complexity, it's our humanity, our resilience, our empathy, our collaboration that can really make all the difference. So until next time, let's keep celebrating our differences and making an impact together. I'm really excited about some episodes that are coming up this year with some guests that are going to share their experiences with us. I have a lot in the lineup that you're going to love because I love it. And I know from being with you over those past 3 years of this journey, all of you listeners in 100 countries, that there are certain episodes that really resonate with you. So we've got a great lineup for this year. Excited for what is in store, what we're going to learn together, and how we're going to make a difference together. So keep making a difference wherever you are.